by the Islamists and leftists mourning a dictator, condemning President Trump's strikes against Iran, and generally being miserable, oxygen-thieving miscreants. But I want to start lefties on a high note tonight. So let's see Iranians adopting the Trump dance to celebrate the death of the dictator.
When the world thought social media had already seen everything, a surreal new trend suddenly exploded across platforms. Iranians from Tehran to Toronto began posting videos of themselves performing the so-called Trump dance to the classic anthem YMCA, and the reason behind it left many people stunned. In clips that quickly gathered millions of views, ordinary men and women can be seen copying the familiar arm movements often associated with former U.S. President Donald Trump, dancing in public squares, inside their living rooms, and even in crowded city streets. But this wasn't just a harmless meme or a short-lived TikTok craze. These performances were presented as a sign of gratitude for a dramatic geopolitical event that has shaken the global stage, the reported death of Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, following what sources described as a major U.S. and Israeli airstrike operation. What makes these videos so controversial isn't only the unexpected mix of pop culture and high-stakes politics, it's the way they touch on deep emotions, personal identities, and years of frustration expressed by many Iranians, both inside the country and throughout the diaspora. The first clips appeared almost immediately after the news spread that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the spiritual and political center of Iran's government for nearly 4 decades, had reportedly been killed in a joint military operation. In Tehran, small groups of young people, some dressed simply in everyday clothes and others holding the old pre-1979 Iranian flag, started gathering in side streets to dance. Within hours, videos surfaced from London's Trafalgar Square and Los Angeles' Pershing Square, showing crowds chanting, cheering, and repeating the same sharp, rhythmic arm movements, unexpectedly brought together by a shared sense of release. What started as a few scattered posts quickly turned into a global viral wave, with hashtags linked to YMCA and the Trump dance trending across multiple platforms. Back in Iran, where public expression has often been tightly restricted, many of these clips were recorded inside private homes, yet they still carried a raw and powerful energy, a mix of relief, quiet defiance, and long-held emotion that surprised viewers across the world.
Ami Horowitz. Ami, tell me about these protests. Who is behind them? They seem to be very similar. They don't seem to be all that organic.
Yeah, and it just does not matter to them what the reality is on the ground. It doesn't matter to them what success can come from these type of attacks, right? This kind of defense of democracy, defense of the people. The Venezuelan, and you have to ask yourself, do they care that Venezuelans are happy when Maduro's no longer there? Are they not happy or thrilled that the Iranians are celebrating now that the mullahs are being killed? That they're now having finally, hopefully, they can taste some freedom? No, this is a larger issue involved where you have people who are trying to undermine the United States, undermine our foreign policy. They are aligned with our enemies. Okay, this is what we have, and yes, of course, it's AstroTurf. Of course, these are pre-printed signs. Things are all connected. When you go to Minneapolis, right, and you see those, when I showed you those signs being taken off of trucks, this is all the same part of this leftist agenda where they're trying to undermine the United States and the moves that we're making and President.
At first glance, the Trump dance might look like nothing more than a playful internet meme. But for millions of Iranians, it quickly turned into a strong symbol of defiance and hope. The familiar arm movements, once mostly seen at campaign rallies, suddenly became a simple cultural signal for celebration, a spontaneous reaction to what many viewed as the closing of a long chapter. The choice of music, YMCA, added even more meaning. Deeply connected to Western pop culture, the song highlighted how generational change and global connection can shape moments of protest and pride in ways no one expects. For Iranian communities living abroad, especially in the United States and across Europe, this moment carried a sense of validation and visibility. Some people danced while holding both the flag of their homeland and the flags of Western nations. Many were visibly emotional, while others shouted "Thank you Trump" along with passionate calls for freedom and reform. Each post, each hashtag, and every rising view count became part of a growing digital trail, showing how a major political development had been transformed almost overnight into a viral cultural movement. Scrolling through the comments sections, one theme appears again and again: raw, open gratitude. This feels like when the Berlin Wall came down, wrote one Iranian-born student on X, as her short video quickly climbed to tens of millions of views. Others shared similar feelings. For many, the end of Khamenei's hold on power did not simply mean the removal of a leader, it represented the lifting of decades marked by strict control, heavy censorship, and constant fear. In Los Angeles, some dancers were recorded without the dress restrictions required inside Iran, clearly signaling what many described as a break from a system they saw as deeply limiting. Even critics noted the strange contrast, celebrating to a song often linked with Western pop culture and leisure, while reacting to a serious military operation. Whether people supported the celebrations or questioned them, almost everyone seemed to agree on one point: this moment had etched itself into the global imagination in a way that very few political events have managed to do in recent years. To understand why this dance touched such a deep nerve, you have to look at the wider context. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was more than just a political figure, he represented Iran's system of religious rule, overseeing crackdowns on opposition, strict control over media and daily life, and ongoing tension with Western countries. For decades, he stood at the center of Iran's power structure. News of his death was described by many observers as a major turning point in modern Middle Eastern history. According to official statements at the time, a joint U.S. and Israeli coalition carried out targeted airstrikes against Khamenei and other senior leaders in what was called Operation Epic Fury, an effort aimed at weakening Iran's nuclear program and military network. President Trump publicly referred to Khamenei as one of the most evil people in history, highlighting just how intense and controversial the moment had become on the global stage. For many Iranians, especially younger generations who felt frustrated under strict rule, this was not just another headline. It was seen as an opportunity to take back their story and express emotions that had been building for years.
What do they have in common? Hatred of Western values. Self-hatred, okay? What they see is victimhood, right? They look at themselves as victims, they see Islam as victims, and they see their common enemy is success. Their common enemy is the free market. Their common enemy is Western liberal values, even though they're not liberals. These are not liberals. These are hard leftists who want dictatorship, who want autocracy. That's what they want because they know that their ideals are the only ones that can be supreme, and therefore you can't allow for freedom and a multiplicity of voices.
Despite the viral dance craze, reactions inside Iran were far from universally joyful. State media quickly entered a period of official mourning, airing somber tributes and cautioning against unrest, while religious authorities called for unity. Families grieving lost loved ones, along with those fearing further conflict, expressed deep sorrow and anxiety. Even within Iranian society, emotions were complex and varied. In some areas, people remained publicly silent, in others, quiet clapping echoed from balconies, and in private homes, small celebrations took place away from view. For many inside the country, the viral dances online were both inspiring and frustrating, a reminder that while the world saw symbols of revolt, actual change within Iran remained complicated and uncertain. The result was a sharp contrast: mourning for some, a sense of freedom for others. In cities such as London, Los Angeles, and Toronto, Iranian diaspora communities took the spotlight, reimagining the meme, the music, and the moment itself. Pre-revolution flags were waved alongside U.S. and Israeli flags, dancers moved in sync with the rhythm, and captions like "Freedom begins here" quickly spread across social media. These public celebrations, while full of energy, also sparked intense discussions about cultural identity, political loyalty, and whether it was appropriate to celebrate the death of a leader. Yet the scale was undeniable: millions of views, shares, and reactions turned a grassroots online trend into a nearly global cultural phenomenon. In many ways, the focus shifted from any single political figure to a broader sense of shared release, a visual story of long-held frustration transforming into joy, sometimes raw, sometimes ironic, but always memorable. As the world continues to process the shockwaves of Khamenei's death, the Trump dance videos remain a vivid record of a moment where politics and pop culture collided in an unforgettable way. The streets of Iran and diaspora cities may have quieted since the viral peak, but conversations about the future, who will lead next, what kind of Iran might emerge, and how the global community responds, are just beginning. Some experts warn of possible regional instability, while others see a chance for reform and renewal inside Iran. Regardless of what comes next, these viral clips of dancing Iranians will stay as a digital snapshot of a historic crossroads, a mix of personal relief, political symbolism, and cultural evolution captured in a way only the internet could make so real. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos covering global events and viral moments.